If you heard about, or maybe even played War Thunder, then you might be under an impression that this is a manly, immersive game about tanks, planes, and ships. No funny business allowed. After all, this is a serious war simulator. Well, what if I told you that you are completely wrong and this game is actually full of degeneracy, but it's hidden underneath the surface? If you're just a casual player, the worst you can stumble upon is anime pillows on someone else's tank. That's a little weird, but hey, anime is everywhere these days. This is fine, right? Wrong. The degeneracy in War Thunder goes far beyond anything you imagine, and if you think you know, trust me, you really don't know. Thankfully, I'm here to tell you. So let's explore this iceberg and see what horrors await us in the loot boxes that I placed on different levels. The harmless surface, the questionable shallow waters, and the abyss. The contents of the first box are My Little Pony and furry events in War Thunder. Let's go with the furries first. In 2021 and 22, Gaijin had an event called Tailspin, which featured cartoony planes piloted by anthropomorphic foxes and bears. This was an homage to a Disney cartoon from the 90s called Tailspin, and they actually did a pretty good job recreating the aircraft designs. Now, obviously only a minority played this event for the nostalgia, while the vast majority were on the grind to get the 2 furry profile pictures. I guess the fox looks alright, I don't know. The pony situation was a bit different. This event happened back during the prehistoric times of 2013, when War Thunder was still new and relatively unknown. It was very simple. You took control of a flying pony armed with guns and rockets, and you flew around shooting down other horses. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why ponies specifically? Wasn't that just a cartoon for little girls? Yes, it was. However, you know how every other person has an anime profile picture these days? Well, back then, it was pony avatars instead. And who knows, maybe Gaijin were big fans too. Now, while this is obviously very out of place for War Thunder, and these communities can be insufferable, at the end of the day, these April Fool's events were harmless. They ran for a very short time, were completely optional, and now only reside within our memories. The next box contains Gaijin's weeaboo past, which is crucial, as a lot of this video will have to do with anime. Have you ever thought why Gaijin is called, well, Gaijin? After all, this word is a Japanese slur which means foreigner. What's up with that? You see, in their early days, Gaijin founders actually dreamed about entering the Japanese game market, so this name was chosen as an ironic joke. And in 2007, they actually went full anime with the release of X-Blades. Now, the game itself doesn't matter. It's a bland and uninspired ripoff of Devil May Cry that failed miserably. What is important here is the main character's design. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. Keep in mind that she was designed and approved by Gaijin. Every single polygon on her exposed behind was carefully handcrafted to provoke maximum response from teenage brains. And maybe Gaijin employee brains too, who knows. Now, fast forward to 2016, there was a crucial event that I must mention. Gaijin entered partnership with DMM to publish War Thunder in Japan. What is DMM? It's a huge Japanese company that, among other things, has their own online game store similar to Steam. And so the Japanese War Thunder connection was established, which would eventually bring true terror to the game. But not yet. It also resulted in a hilarious situation around 2018 when the word weeaboo was banned on official Gaijin websites like War Thunder Forums and War Thunder Live. I guess they decided that this word was offensive to their brand new Japanese partners, even though it specifically refers to non-Japanese people who have an unhealthy obsession with anime and the culture in general. And while this ban didn't last long, it generated quite a reaction from the community, and is fondly remembered as one of the funniest blunders in War Thunder moderation. Next, we are going into the shallow waters, and taking a break from anime with Eva Elfie sponsorship. You might have seen her decal in the game, but who is she? Eva is a content creator who does have a YouTube channel, but that's not how she got famous. Her real contribution to this world is her acting career in adult cinema. You know, the kind of content you would only find on the Black and Orange website. So then, how in the world did a special actress get sponsored by Gaijin? Well, first you have to understand how sponsorship works. In case of Gaijin, they hire advertisement agencies, which then look for people to sponsor. How do I know? Gaijin said that themselves when responding to allegations of funding terrorism. Actually, can we talk about that for a second? In 2021, Gaijin sponsored a channel run by a Russian guy who was very clearly and openly participating in the Donbass war on the side of Russian separatists, and as such, had access to military-grade weapons and armored vehicles for use in his videos. So after sponsoring this channel twice, what did Gaijin have to say? They said that they didn't know. See, it was the agencies taking care of the ads, not Gaijin. Makes sense, right? Well, there's a small problem. I know for a fact that when you work with agencies, they don't have complete control over the ads. There is always a brand representative, or in this case a Gaijin representative, who reviews and approves videos for posting. But hey, if Gaijin says they didn't know, then I believe them. Either way, Eva Elfie. While Gaijin said they work through agencies, I highly doubt that an agency would sponsor a special actress like her. What is a lot more likely is that a higher-up at Gaijin saw her content and liked it so much that they decided to get her on board. Sounds kind of ridiculous, but keep in mind that she got sponsored over and over again, on top of getting her own personal decal. You might think this is fine, but I believe something like this has no place in a game like War Thunder. But hey, at least they didn't put her videos into the game itself. Thanks for that, I guess. Now we are getting into some real degeneracy with Daebom. In case you're not aware, Daebom is one of the most popular War Thunder YouTube channels, with a lot of Patreon members. So how does he do it? What's the secret to his success? Oh, it's actually quite simple. If you look at his videos, you might notice that the thumbnails on a lot of them look like cropped, special content. And that's exactly what it is. This guy draws special content for his Patreon, and it is special alright, as a lot of these characters in the drawings look suspiciously like children. Not only that, but the acts depicted in his art tend to also be quite unusual, to say the least. Now, obviously I can't show any of this in the video, but if you're desperate enough, his art is very easy to find with a quick Google search. And, you know, so what? The guy draws degeneracy, that's kinda cringe, but I'm sure a lot of you are into this stuff anyway. Well, Gaijin hired him. Like, you can't make this up. It's almost like Gaijin is willing to hire anyone who is involved in some kind of degenerate content making. Daebom was responsible for these anime pillows, which I'm sure most of you have on your tanks, and he was the person behind the anime promotional videos for War Thunder. So then, Gaijin must have been aware of his content. In fact, he likely got hired only because of his content. I guess Gaijin is happy to support that kind of art. Actually, I know they are, because of the next topic. Brace yourselves, because we are going down into the abyss. The next box contains CyberPunk, but not the game or the science fiction genre. You know what I'm talking about. And yes, there is CyberPunk inside War Thunder. Story time. On one fateful day in 2019, I was playing War Thunder with my friend. I was just spectating other players since I was dead, and then, out of the blue, I get hit with this. Yes, this is my screenshot from that very moment. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's impossible for War Thunder to have an official skin like this in the game. After all, this character looks like a kid, and she is presenting her underwear. No way. Or so I thought. This was my Alice in Wonderland moment. I was Alice and I dove deep into the degenerate rabbit hole. And I found what I was looking for. Remember this partnership between Gaijin and the Japanese DMM that I mentioned at the start of the video? Well, turns out in 2018, DMM hosted a special crossover event between War Thunder and the Strike Witches anime. A lot of unique skins were added as a part of that event, and that was precisely what I was looking for. There she was, the skin from my screenshot, a character named Lynette Bishop. And by the way, all these other skins also depict these characters flashing their undergarments. So I said she was a child, but to be fair, when it comes to anime, every female looks like a child. If only there was a way to know for sure. Oh, actually there is a way. It's called the Strike Witches Wiki. Oh man, I wish they would stop with the underwear. So here is Lynette and 15. Gaijin, this is not looking good, like at all. And that's the case for a lot of these characters. But this one? 12? Gaijin, this is CyberPunk, and you cannot convince me otherwise, no matter what you say. This content was put into your game with your permission. There is absolutely no way they didn't know about it. There is genuinely no way for them to explain this garbage being in the game. And yes, I already had a few Japanese visitors in my Discord server, trying to explain that their culture is different and that I shouldn't be judging Japan with my Western morality. And you know, maybe I would agree if these skins were locked to Japanese servers. But they aren't. Yes, this event was only available for Japanese players, but they can now use these skins on any server they decide to play on. So as long as I can run into CyberPunk on EU servers, I think I am well within my right to judge this stuff with my Western morality. So this is genuinely awful. No way it gets even worse, right? Well, this box contains PDF files. Yes, once again, I'm not referring to actual files, but rather people. Let's start with Devis, as I actually talked to him before the incident. Who was he? Well, he was just a War Thunder Air player and a member of the 1 vs 1 dueling community. Just like most competitive players, he had a massive ego, which eventually got him into trouble after he decided it would be a good idea to say this.
Definitely kind of shitter, but that's just my opinion. And none of the quote-unquote pro players are even that good.
After seeing this, Devin offered him a duel, which would go down in history as the devastated incident. It would ruin Devis's reputation for years to come, but he didn't give up. He kept playing duels until eventually joining the TSS team. TSS is the War Thunder tournament system, which allowed both Gaijin and regular players to host their own tournaments, which was especially helpful to the 1 vs 1 community. Now, while he technically worked for Gaijin and signed an NDA, he was really more of an unpaid volunteer, and that's when I met him. At some point, Devis decided to randomly join my Discord server and started talking to me when I was streaming random games, and oh boy, did he have a lot to say. He was basically venting and crying about how unfair the War Thunder community was to him. Even though he worked so hard to improve the tournaments, people were still dismissing him as an idiot because of the devastated video. And you know what? I felt bad for him and tried to be supportive. After all, doing something stupid when you're young and having it uploaded to the internet can indeed ruin your reputation forever. But turns out it was all for nothing, as a month later, the news came and the DMs got leaked. Now, the images are quite self-explanatory, and I don't know anything about the other person in these conversations, except the fact that they were most definitely too young for this. After this unpleasant revelation, Devis didn't argue or defend himself, he just quietly disappeared and wiped out all his social accounts. And that is the story of the devastated PDF file. Now, how about we flip the tables with Senko? Keep in mind, I don't know this person, nor was I involved in these events, so the story I'm telling can be incomplete or inaccurate. Senko is an adult woman who, just like Devis, is a member of the competitive tournament scene. She also runs a successful business, and the secret to her success is very simple. Step 1. Be a girl in the War Thunder community. Step 2. Actively message potential prey. Step 3. Act extremely thirsty to appeal to lonely males. Step 4. Ask them for money or gifts if they wish to continue. Step 5. Profit. When doing this, she used someone else's OnlyFans content as a reward for gifts, and even pretended not to be of age to appeal to, special people. Now, if the victim refused to cooperate, she would contact moderators of the server they were in and get this person banned for sending her indecent messages. And, scamming thirsty War Thunder nerds for golden eagles and premium vehicles doesn't sound too horrible. But the issue here is the fact that Senko doesn't care whether her victims are adults or not. She had this particular conversation with a person she knew wasn't an adult, but kept doing her thing anyway. Now, I know some of you would rather blame the victims, say that they are idiots for falling for it. And yeah, they're not the brightest, but scum like Senko should not be able to be a part of the community while doing all this. Devis at least had the decency to disappear, while this creature is still around doing her thing. So if you came for degeneracy, then I hope you are fully satisfied. Now, monthly recap time. Alright, so Gaijin released this community update number 7, where they're talking about all the new features that they will be adding into War Thunder, and this is extremely funny. So let's look at it, right? First, they're giving out like a free decal, great. Although if you want to spend money, you can buy a avatar frame, a decal, and a title for $4. That's great. So onto the actual changes. New tank modules, I'm sure you tank players appreciate all this. New naval features, something to do with aiming, fuel dumping, more AMRAMs for more F-16s. Actually, in terms of air changes, they posted these like preliminary BR changes, and air RB will now be 14.3 BR maximum, so decompression, I guess. Better nuclear carriers for GRB, radar UI improvements, also great for tank players. Helicopter cockpits, also for tank players. Talking about the new vehicles that will come to the game, I think these were already leaked. New event vehicles, F-106 coming to the game. If it releases at 9.3, as it is right now, it's going to be insanely broken, so I recommend you guys actually get it. Not because of the missiles, because if you look at the missiles and you see this, whatever it has, like 27G overload, they're actually extremely bad. Not because of the turn, but because they have no energy to work with. They have like half the range of an AIM-9B, currently at least. So, yada yada. Actually, this has been a long time coming. Tanks have been out since, 2015? So it's been 10 years. And only now are they increasing the SP costs to spawn like multiple aircraft in Ground RB. Well, better late than never, right? You can read this if you want. Shooting through UAVs. Gen 5s will not be coming for now. They will be focusing on more Gen 4 aircraft. So, this is all great, right? This is amazing. They're working on the game. So many new features, so many things to pay attention to. But what's funny is the fact that the aircraft cannons still don't work. Since the last big update, they broke all the high explosive shells for all aircraft cannons. Aircraft just do no damage. Everybody is forced to run these armor-piercing belts, which are, not suited for aircraft. But it's still better to run AP than HE, which does no damage. So, Gaijin, I really appreciate that you're looking at all these features, you're thinking ahead, in implementing this, implementing that. But could you, please maybe fix the cannons? Let us air players actually enjoy the game, maybe? That would be great. Thank you. Either way, once again, a sincere thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. And to all the rest of you, thank you for watching till the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.